Hey guys, welcome back. In last lecture we saw how HTML code works. A basic application is what we created in last tutorial. Now over here when it comes to testing, what we are doing is we are dealing with browser. Whatever is getting rendered from the front end, that is what we are checking. In UAT, regression, smoke testing, that is what we are doing. So that is what we will be covering over here. But if let us say there was no web or front end, just backend application was sending some details to front end, right? That we can check through API. So rather than it being rendered in front end, we can actually call up API and check like in last coding example, right? Just give me a second. In last coding example, let us say we were actually calling a database of students. Over here we actually fixated it at student number 1 to 5. We hard coded it, right? But actually in real case scenario, what will happen? In real case scenario, front end will make a request to backend application that please send across a list of students to me. Backend application would fetch it from database and supply it back to front end. So that is what we are testing when it comes to front end. But if there was no front end, we would simply test it via API that please send across, we'll send across a request to this backend that please send across a list of student which it will fetch from database and supply it back. We'll test if it is over here in UI we are testing if it is getting rendered properly, the list is proper. But in API testing would stand over here. If there was no front end, we'll test that if backend is able to supply us the required database of students in this particular example, right? That will be covered under API testing tutorial. And going a step further, we are not checking database even in API or UI testing because we are assuming database is working fine, backend is working fine, so we are testing it on front end if everything is getting rendered properly, if everything is working as per the requirement, functional requirement. But API would go a step further wherein we are testing the backend application also if it is giving us the correct response as is asked, right? In going a step further in database testing, what we'll be checking if backend application backend code is requesting something from database, right? Give me a list of students whoever is there in that database. So if database is giving the correct response, that is what we'll be checking in database testing. We'll be covering that in database testing tutorial. In front end, we actually use various languages like HTML, JavaScript. We covered HTML, JavaScript basics also will be covering at a later stage. Same way in backend, there are various languages which we can actually use like this Java, Python, .NET, all these languages. Let us look at one of these languages, that is Python. It is easy to learn. That is why we are choosing Python. So Python, let us look at basics of Python, how it works, how it is supplying data to front end or fetching it from database. This we may not be covering in this particular tutorial, but at a later stage. But basics of Python, how that code is written, syntax of Python, that is what we'll be covering in this particular session. So let's get started with Python. Over here, I'll be working with JupyterLab. That is my IDE for Python. But if you don't have any IDE installed in your laptop, what you can do is Python compiler. Use some online Python compiler. Go over here and start writing code. Over here, they have written one line of code, print hello world. What it will do? It will print hello world. So whatever code I'll be writing in JupyterLab IDE, you can actually write it in this online compiler also. So let's get started. How do we define variable? Over here, let us say value 1 is a variable. Now we'll assign it some value. 10. Value 2, again it is a variable. We'll assign it value 5. Value 3 again is a variable, is equal to value 1 minus value 2. Yeah, then we'll ask it to print value 3. So I hope this is clear. Simply declaring a variable, it is very easy in Python language when it comes to syntax of Python. Simply use any variable and assign it some value. Although we have assigned integer value, but we can assign anything. So we'll be covering that also as we go move forward. Yeah. Now let us say value 5, value 4, or var4, that is variable short form. We can use anything over here. We are assigning name. var4 equal to 15. Now we'll write some code, if else loops. So how does it work in Python? If var4 less than equal to 10, then print number var variable is less than or equal to 10. So you would put it in quotes. That is how the syntax works for Python. We ran it, right? Nothing happened because value was not less than 10. We never said that what needs to be done if it is larger than 10. Now we'll use else if. So what it does is, only if this is not true, then it will move to next line, that is else if. Else if var 4 greater than 10 and var 4 less than 20, then print variable is between 10 and 20. Yeah. Else print variable is greater than or equal to 20. So now if we'll run this code, what will happen? It will say variable is between 10 and 20. It has said that, right? Now if we'll change it from 15 to 25, what will happen? It will say value is greater than or equal to 20. If we'll change it to 5, it will say value is less than or equal to 10. So what we have covered in this particular block of code is if else statement, how it works. If it is less than this, execute this. If the above condition is not true, then check for this condition. Else if it is telling the code that only if, telling the compiler that only if this particular condition is not true, then try executing this code. Yes, let us say this condition is also not true, then it will move to final code of else. Make sense? This is if else. Again repeating the same thing. Firstly, it will try checking for this condition. If this condition is met, it will never move to the next condition. Only if this condition is not true, then it will move to second condition, whatever we have assigned over here. And again, if it is not true, then only it will move to next condition. Make sense? Okay. So now second thing which we have done is AND. So what is and or conditions in Python? If this is true as well as this is true, and means both the conditions have to be true. If we had put in or over here, even if one of these conditions were true, it would eventually trigger this code or, right? It is again saying less than 10 because value is less than 10. This condition has been satisfied. The code never moved to the second line. If it had moved to second line, it would have printed this one. Yeah, because one of these conditions were being satisfied. We'll change it to AND. Hope this is clear. As I told you earlier, that variable can hold any value. It could be integer or it could be anything. Let us say var1 equal to, it could be alphabet, word, it could be tutorial is going on. Yeah. Now if we'll print it, it will simply print tutorial is going on. Yeah. Now look at list. What is a list? List 1 2 3. Let us create a list. List is something in which we can actually assign multiple variables or values. It can hold multiple objects, right? List could be 9 comma 5 comma 12 comma 6. So these are the various values. Let us say we want to have 4 values. Rather than having 4 different variables and assigning values, what we can do is we can create a single variable of list 1 2 3, and if we want to get value, let us say I want to print list 1 2 3, it will print all of these, right? Now if I would want to print so it has printed each and every element of the list. Now let us say we want to access individual elements. I want to access element number 1 of list 1 2 3. What I'll do, I'll put it in brackets and will assign 0. That will print the first value. Now let us say we want to access the second element, then in brackets I'll assign 1 and it will print out the second value. Now third value, same, right? Fourth value, this. We want to access the last element, then what we'll do, we'll assign -1. If we'll execute this code, it will again print 6 because this is the last value. Irrespective of what the length of list is, if we'll ask it to display -1 element, it will go to the last element. So what is length of the list? Length of list 1 2 3. How many elements are there? 0th element 1 2 3. So length of list is 4, right? 1 2 3 4. 4 elements are there: 0th, 1st, 2nd and 3rd. Now let us print each and every element of the list once again, but in another way, using the very same for loop. For I in range 0 comma length of list 1 2 3, right? So what it will do is for I in range 0 comma 4. So this will run 4 times this particular loop, right? Now we would want to print list element. How will we access it? List 1 2 3 element number. When the first time it will run, the i's value would be 0, right? 0 to 4 it will run, i's value will be 0. So we'll put up I. First time it will run, it will print up list first element, second element, then third, then fourth. That is how it will do, right? Oops. So it has printed that. You got the difference, right? Over here for I in list 1 2 3, what it is doing? For each element in the list, for I in list 1 2 3, over here the first time it will run, i's value would be 9, second time it would be 5. But over here we are saying for I in range 0 to length of list 1 2 3. So it will essentially be for I in range 0 comma 4. So value would be 0 1 2 and 3. That is how it will be. Once we are using range, then the value would be this one from wherever we are starting. This is the initial value once the loop is starting. But if we are directly saying for I in list 1 2 3, it will pick up the first object of the list and will print that. Now one more thing which we would want to cover. We created this HTML page, right, in our last tutorial. In this page there are 3 buttons and the text of 3 buttons are show and add student. We'll create a list of buttons, let us name it this one, and we'll assign three elements to it, three objects to it. The first one would be show, second one would be again show, third one would be add student. Now if I would want to print list of button, zeroth element, it would print show, right? Now we want to create another list list of buttons with show text. So we want to create a list with list of buttons which are having text as show. How would we do that? We'll iterate through the above list. Iterating means we'll go through each and every element. We'll check if the element's text is show. If it is show, we will add it to list of buttons show text. As of now, we are assigning it a null or empty value, right? So it is empty. This particular list is empty. For I in list of buttons, list of button, if I equal to show, then add that element list of button with show text dot append I, right? Then we will print it. So as you can see, it has added two elements in it. In the first list, we are having three elements. Each element is having some value, that is show, and add student. Instead of element, it is actually object. So in this one, what we are doing, we are checking each object. If the object's value is equal to show, then this particular object will get appended to the new list which we have created over here. It was initially null. So what this append does, it adds to that particular list, right? To any list. And if over here you can see that I have put up two equal to signs. So if we are using if condition, then we need to use two equal to's to check if the condition is being met. If we are assigning something to a variable, then we'll use a single variable. Over here you can see list 1 2 3 equal to, we are assigning a single variable. Over here var4 equal to 5, right? Over here also single equal to, but over here when we are checking some condition in if else, then we would use two equal to's. I hope it makes sense. So now we have looked at backend code also. Usually what will happen, something would be requested by front end which this backend code will supply. Backend code, how it will supply, either it will check from database, fetch something, do some manipulation of the data, it will fetch a list from database. It will fetch some data from database, put it in list, and will run some if else loops on that particular data and supply it back to front end. That is how it is happening. Now we have seen this one, also we have seen this one. Database will be covering during database testing, and this part API testing will be covering also, right?